Hello everyone, welcome to Weekly Tech. In our last video, we discussed about primitives and objects. And if you haven't watched that video, please click on the I button that is coming on the top right corner of your screen. In this video, we'll discuss about the rest and the spread operator. What are they, where we can use them, and the way we always do in our all other videos, we will try to use them in different possible scenarios and in different possible ways so that we can get the actual concepts that can help us during interview questions. So we'll first try to understand what is a rest operator. We'll first go with the rest operator. So what is a rest operator? So let me declare an array arr1 and let's say it is holding 2, 3, 4. Okay, so just the way we discussed before in our last video, objects and arrays are reference type. So whatever that was happening with objects can happen with array. Yes, let us see how. So let me declare another array arr2, and arr2 will be equal to arr1. Let's console log both arr1 and arr2, and let's push some value into arr2, our newly created array. Let's say we push 5. Is 5 already there? No, it's not there, so we'll push 5. Okay, so now as per the normal concept or normal understanding, arr1 should hold 1, 2, 3, 4 and arr2 should hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here comes the interview question: what will be the output of both of them? For a newbie, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4 for arr1, and for arr2 it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the actual output will be both will hold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why this had happened? Just click on the I button that is coming on the top right hand side and you will get to know, because we have covered this thing in our last video, objects versus primitive versus object types in JavaScript. So as I said, it was happening with objects, it will happen with arrays because both of them are reference types in JavaScript. So how to overcome this? So JavaScript came up with a new concept of spread operator. So we'll first cover the spread operator. So what's the syntax of spread operator is, we want arr2 to have all the values of arr1. So how we can do, we can spread by 3 dots arr1. Now arr2 will have all the values of arr1, and now when we are trying to push a new value to arr2, arr1 array 1 will not be disturbed, it will stay intact, and the new value will be pushed only to arr2. That means arr2 will receive a new memory address in the heap. Let's see how. See, arr1 is still having 1, 2, 3, 4 and arr2 is now holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But there is a caveat. With the copy. In our previous video we discussed about deep copy and shallow copy, and we'll discuss more on that once we discuss the few scenarios or use cases of the spread operator. So spread operators can only work on the iterables. So like arrays, strings, maps, sets, we can use the spread operator. The spread operator will do nothing but creates an output array, will give the output in an array. How? Let me show it to you. So as I said, it can only work on the iterables. So, and iterables, strings are also iterables. So if I say, let's say let my name equal to Uday, and if I do a console.log of spread my name, the output will be comma separated value. It will be an array on comma separated. It's not showing in the console, but it will be comma separated values. Let's see how. Let me give you another example. There are 3. Will be a new array of will spread my name again, and now we'll console arr3. So spread operator will give you a comma separated values that you can hold in an array, but it won't work for you in case of when you want to use it in template literal. So let's say you want to display its value and spread it in my name, so it will give you an error. Why? Because template literal won't accept a comma separated value by this. So the output will always be a comma separated value that we can handle or that we can accept in an array. So what's the production usage of that? So let me create a function for you. Function name will be my countries, and the parameters will be country 1, COUN 2, COUN 3, and we'll console log all of them. Okay, it's just a normal function. So, and if let's say we have an array, let my font array equal to, let's say the first value will be India, second value will be USA, and the third value will be, let's say, UK. And now if you want to call this function my countries, I want to call this function my countries. So what's the basic way of doing it? We can do it like this fashion. First 0, then the first index, then the second index, say the third index. And now if you display it, it will give you 0, 1, sorry, the second index. It will give you the perfect output that we want. But how we can, there is another way of doing it. We have discussed it, my country array, and we can spread it. And now the my countries function will, the arguments, all the three arguments will receive these three values, and it will work expected, the way it was expected. So what do you think? What's the correct way, or what's the clean way of doing it? The way we did it before, of using every index, or by spreading it? So can we use, the next question that should come in our mind is, can we use spread operator in objects also? Yes, we can do. So let's create a object, my object name, let's say my name, and let's say age 29, and let me create another value, another object, let my new obj. And we have seen this behavior in a previous video, that if we create my new obj with my obj like this, then, and if you change something in my new obj, if you change this age property of my new obj, it will gonna change the property of my obj also. And why it was happening, we have seen in the previous video. But we can use the spread operator to get saved from this behavior. And now we'll have a new copy. We have a new copy, my new object of my object. And if you change something in my new object dot age equal to, let's say, 35, if I console both of them, my obj and my new obj, if I try to get the values, but we can spread the value not by using the square brackets, but by using the curly braces. And now it should work. So that's where you should know the difference, what you are spreading. And when you are spreading an iterable, the spread operator will only work with the iterables. But if you want to spread an object, you can use the curly braces here. And now if you can see that my new object dot age is having 35, and the value of my object it's still remain intact. Now there was some caveats that I was talking about in the starting. So what are they? And I said it was related with deep and shallow copying. So yeah, my name. So by using spread operator, you can do a deep copy, okay, but not too much deep. For example, let's say let's create another array. Let's comment out all of this so that we have a clear console, and let's say we have a new array. Let's comment out this one also so that we won't get any error. Let's say we have a new array ARR1. It is having 1 2 3, and it is having a nested array, let's say 4, and inside again a nested array, let's say 5. Okay, and if you do ARR, let ARR2 equal to, you spread it, ARR1, and you console log both of them, ARR1 and ARR2, and you'll get the output that you want. Okay, both of them are holding the same values because you copied it. But if you change, let's say you push something in ARR2, let's say you said ARR2 dot push, and you pushed 6. Now the spread operator will create a new memory for ARR2, and the ARR1 will remain intact. That's what we have discussed, and that's what we got. ARR2 will have a new value 6, but ARR1 will still remain intact. But in case of nested array, this behavior gets changed a bit, and I know it's quite annoying, and when you are trying to do a deep copy, you are not able to do with using spread operator. Let me show it how. So let's say if you want to push something in the, so we have a nested array from 0 1 2 3 from the third index, and from the third index you have 0 and 1. On the first index you have another array, and you want to push, and you want to make it something like this. That's where you are pushing. So you are pushing into array 2, but if you see, let me console the third element in both the case. Okay, so it will be clear. And if you see, both of them are holding 5 and 6. So this deep copy is not working with nested array for the spread operator. So what's the best way of doing a deep copy? You can use the third-party library Lodash, and it's deep copy or deep clone library, and this will be clone deep method. So this will be helpful in doing a deep clone, because spread operator can make a clone for you, but it won't work in case of a nested, or it won't do a deep clone for you. Okay, so this is one of the caveats and one of the scenario where an interviewer can ask you a question. Okay, now if I make this nested, what will spread do? So in this case, spread won't work, and the reference type behavior will come into picture, and both of them will get changed. Okay, now let's discuss about the rest operator. What is the rest operator? So let's say you have another array. Let's ARR1 equal to, again, 1 2 3 4 5, and you want to create a new array. So we have discussed array destructuring in our previous videos. If you haven't seen them, click on the top right I button that is coming, you'll get an idea. So the way we can destructure it is using the square brackets on the left hand side of the arrow. Will give the first index, let's say the 1, the first index name will be 1 and 2. These are individual variables, these are not array elements. I'll show the console, and that we have discussed in detail with the array destructuring in our previous videos. Now I'm not interested in the rest of the array, so we can hold the rest of the array inside rest array, inside another array, like this. And if we console all three of them, so 1 will be another variable, 2 will be another variable, and individual variable. They are not arrays, but the rest array will be a new array for you. And see, 1 and 2 will hold 1 and 2 as individual variables, but the rest array variable will be an array which is holding the rest of the array elements, and that's why we call it the rest parameter or the rest operator. And how you can differentiate between them is when you are using it on left hand side of the arrow. Just a trick I'm giving it to you, that when you are using it on the left hand side of the arrow, you call it the rest operator, and we are using it on the right hand side of the equal to operator, you call it the spread operator. Okay, so now how interviewer can trick you. So the first scenario that can come into picture is, if let's say if you have skipped one element like this, we can do it in object destructuring. Now what will the rest array will hold? We are skipping one element, rest array will hold 4 and 5. Okay, we have seen this in the array destructuring part, that we can skip a variable like this. Now it will give you a second scenario. Let's say, what if I have last variable name, last one, like this. So what will last one hold, and what will the rest array hold? So in this case it will give you an error. Okay, this won't work. Why? Because this is a rest operator, so you are holding whatever is left. What are the rest of the values that are left, you are holding it in array. So that's why a rest operator should always be at the last. Okay, there should not be any variable sitting after the rest operator. Okay, now the next scenario that can come is, let's say interviewer say, okay, now there won't be any variable after the rest operator. Let's say, can I have another rest operator after rest operator? Let's say rest last. Let's say what will happen in this case? In this case this won't work. Okay, this will give you an error saying the rest element must be the last element. It's a default error that is coming, but let me tell you, you can use rest operator only once. Okay, you can't use it twice, and you should use it at the end. So these two things that you should keep in mind while answering anything on rest operator is, you can use rest operator only in the last while restructuring an array, and you can use it only once. You can use rest operator in production. So let me create one function. So let's say the function will be, let's say we can take our previous function, let's say let's copy it from there, my countries. Okay, so what we did in our previous example with the spread operator is, we have 3 arguments and we assign values to these 3 arguments by using an array spread operator. Okay, we have spread the content of an array India, which is holding India, US and UK, by using the spread operator, and all these 3 values got fixed with count 1, country 1, country 2 and country 3. Now you have a function which is again taking a lot of arguments. Let's say it will take one more argument, count 4, and you are calling it and you are just consoling it all the 4 values, and now you are calling it like my countries, and now you don't have any array. Okay, you just calling it by this, like this, India, USA, UK, and let's say Nepal. Okay, now when you have a lot of arguments getting passed to your functions, this can create a lot of bugs. This is vulnerable when you have a lot of arguments. I generally don't prefer, and I generally don't suggest of using these many arguments inside of functions. There are a lot of other ways by you can use object destructuring, you can use array destructuring in this case. So instead of using all these 4 arguments, we can use the rest operator like this, my countries. Okay, and now we can simply loop on my countries. See the behavior and notice the behavior when I'm calling it a spread operator and when I'm calling it a rest operator. Okay, now see it carefully. My countries, when we are doing three dots in front of my countries, that means we are clubbing different values in an array. Okay, by this I'm saying whatever we are passing, let me create a loop so it will be easier for you. So for, let's say, index will be, an array will be, and I know that with rest operator the variable will be an array. Okay, so my countries will be an array. I can index on it. Okay, and now here I just want to do a console log. Console log my countries index. Okay, so let's try to run it, and you can see India, USA, UK, Nepal. What is happening here is you are passing a lot of arguments one by one into this function, and this rest operator is clubbing all these values inside an array. So when you are clubbing a lot of values inside an array, that means there the three dots are acting as a rest operator. You are clubbing different values in an array. But when you are spreading out the values from the array, there the three dots are working as a spread operator, and that's what we have seen in our previous example. Here you have an array in my country array which is having India, USA, and UK, and you have a function my countries which are asking for three arguments, and by using this spread operator you have spread the values of an array, my country array, into three comma separated values, and that's what the ask of my countries. But here you are passing four arguments to my country's function, and now you are resting them and you are clubbing them into a single array, all these arguments into a single array, and you are looping on it. Now let's take it to the next level. Let me know in the comment section if you are having difficulty in understanding it. We can discuss it over there. Now let's create and let's use this array, my country array. Okay, let's take it to the next level. Let's have one more input inside this. Let's comment this out. So instead of calling it like this, we can use the spread operator to spread the values of my count array. Now we are spreading the values in a comma separate. Now we are spreading the values of my count array as a comma separated values, and now we are receiving it in an array by resting them in an array. Okay, so the output in this case will be same, but here both of them are holding three dots at the front, but here my count array is acting here, these three dots are acting as a spread operator, but here these are acting as a rest operator. So you should know the difference, what is happening where. Okay, so now here comes the next interview questions, and this is the last one. So let's say if an interview asks you to create a function which can receive, let's say, and all, and which can receive n number of arguments, and based on that, and you need to add all of them. Okay, so here what you can do is, let's say you want to call add all like this: 1 2 3 4 5 6, and now you want to call add like 7 8 9 89, let's say. Okay, in both of the cases the number of arguments are different, so here you can use the rest operator. You can take all of them into, let's say, add values, let's say values, and then you can loop over them by saying index, let's say values, and you can say const, let's say let sum plus equal to values. You need to declare sum at out. You can't define sum every time, so you need to declare let sum equal to 0, and now you are adding every value that you are receiving in the values. So every time when you are calling it it will receive n number of different parameters, it will add it for you, and it will give the output which we want. Let's say console, we need to console it first. I forgot the console, I'm sorry for that. We need to console the sum. And now for the first one it is 21, and for the next one it is 126. So the same function receiving so many arguments, but you are holding it in simple array by using the rest operator. That's all, folks. I know this video was a bit on the confusing side. I tried to clear a lot of conceptual things behind the rest and the spread operator. If you are still having some doubts and anything you want to discuss, do let me know in the comment section. We'll discuss on that. Please like, share and subscribe. It will boost my confidence to share this kind of values.